So let's actually start today in a little thoracic opener. So I think you guys have blankets. If you don't, you can just roll up your mat. If you have the blanket, you can kind of take it out so it's in that quarter fold and then roll it up. So the fatter the roll, the more intense this is going to be in the thoracic, the more opening you're going to get. So you might have to play with this a little bit. As you come over the roll up. And again, you could just roll up your mat here as well. So you want to lay back over this, and it's going to kind of hit like the bottom of your shoulder blades, bottom of the bra strap. So we don't want it too low. It's more in the upper back. But your shoulder blades will be pressing on the top side of the blanket. And you can make cactus arms here. So again, you might actually get some cracks in your spine as you come over this. You can give it a minute or two here, see how you feel. If it's absolutely so intense that you can't stand this, make your roll up a little smaller and you'll still be getting this effect. And then in regards to the legs, you are welcome to come into kind of Shavasana legs here. That can introduce a little tugging in the lower back, especially starting out. So it might just feel better to have knees bent, take your feet wide, and then allow your knees to knock in towards each other. So just trying to really settle down here, feel your bones get heavy. So feel that backside of your body pressing down nice and even. There's no gripping, there's no holding. Maybe take a couple inhales through your nose and then sigh the breath out through your mouth. And then you eventually start to find that rhythm of your Ujjayi breath, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose, creating that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. Maybe just kind of trying to lengthen the breath out, and then notice the pause at the top of the breath. Exhale, and then that pause at the bottom of the breath. So it almost feels like the breath has 4 parts. As you inhale and fill up in the upper chest cavity, maybe find the sensation of that chest kind of lifting towards your chin instead of a dropping chin towards chest. Observe how everything contracts in on the exhale as you empty out. So on the inhale, the diaphragm is dropping down, so finding more space, more room to fill up. And then as you exhale, it's pulling up towards the bottom of the ribs, just gently helping the air to release out. Sometimes that can be a nice visual to help quiet the mind. So just kind of visualizing that happening as you're inhaling and exhaling here. Just soaking up these quiet moments. Bringing your attention inward. Take a nice deep inhale, stretch your arms up overhead, extend your legs forward, point the toes up towards the ceiling. So just getting this nice long body stretch, but still see if you can let those shoulder blades release down your back and make sure that the shoulder heads aren't creeping up around the ears. So just finding a little space. And then release arms by your side, hug knees in, just roll off to one side or the other and move your little burrito out of the way. And then return to your spine again. And so laying down. And then we're gonna reach the arms up overhead again. Press into the center of your heels, toes point up towards the ceiling. So you could just imagine that you're standing into Tadasana mountain pose here. Inner thighs are releasing down. We're gonna bring our left hand to our right wrist, pull up, get a little longer, and then you're gonna like inchworm yourself off to the left. And then you're gonna start to walk your feet off to the left any amount. So you're making this little C-shape, half moon shape with your body laying on the floor. That right hip plate underneath you is gonna wanna pop up off the mat. If that's happened, make your just kind of back out a little bit so you're not in such an intense curve. Little harder to find the expansion of the rib cage here, so we're getting this side stretch. It's moving towards a twisting feeling. If you would like a little more, you could take your right ankle and cross it over your left ankle, and that's just going to intensify the stretch that you feel on that the right side of your body, kind of especially like this where all of the big muscles attach at the hips. Keep breathing. Keep pressing the back side of your body evenly into the mat. And again, just back out a little bit if there's any lift happening, especially on that right side. Good. Take a deep inhale. Full complete exhale here. Uncross your right ankle and then just kind of inchworm your feet back to center and then wiggle your upper body back to center. Release that right wrist, stretch up through your fingertips. And then this time, point forward through your toes and just notice how that feels. So you get more of a stretch. You start to feel this a little more in the calves, in the ankles, the top of the foot. It feels really nice. So let's just be here for a few breaths. And then toes point back up towards the ceiling as you press into the center of the heel. And then we're gonna bring our left fingertips to our right wrist. I think I said that right. Do the opposite side. Stretch up, get nice and long. And then start to inchworm your body off to the left. Feet come in that direction as well. And then if you want to cross your ankle, or your foot rather, over your ankle, you can do that. And again, make sure that the back side of your body is pressing down. So left hip plate pressing into the mat. I think I was talking reverse. Sometimes I forget what's my left and my right because I'm always changing back and forth between the two. So you're leaning off to the right, making that curve shape. How does this side feel different in your body? Always getting curious about that. So paying attention to our physical shape, that helps to bring some focus, some mindfulness to the practice. Couple more good breaths. Good, nice deep inhale. Full complete exhale. And then go ahead and take that left ankle and cross it from the right. Start to make your way back to center. And then stretch out. So fingertips reach, arms about shoulders distance apart. And then, so point the toes up towards the ceiling. Inhale, and then as you exhale, start to point them forward. Just go back and forth like that with your feet. Just a few breaths. And then start to bend your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze here. And let's just come into a nice, easy twist. So keep your knees squeezing in, bring your arms out in a T shape. Deep inhale. As you exhale, knees drop off to the right. They may or may not hit the earth. You could even take a blanket and slide it underneath. You do want to have that left shoulder blade pressing down into the mat. So if it starts to lift a lot, either slide something underneath there, give it a little support, or back out of the twist. Feel those left ribs start to release down towards the earth. Gaze can be straight up. You might start to roll to your left cheek, gazing out over those fingertips. Inhale back to center. And then as you exhale, knees drop off to the left, root down into your right shoulder blade. Make any little adjustments you need to, so you can take a blanket or block underneath your knees, blanket or block underneath that right shoulder, gazing straight up or out over your right fingertips if it feels okay in your neck to do so. Good. Inhale up to center. Squeeze the knees in again. And your choice here, you can roll off to one side or the other. Press up to your tabletop, or you might start to roll forward and back on your spine if that feels okay. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. So landing in our tabletop, just setting up for a few rounds of our cat-cow here, which is going to feel really nice. So we've kind of opened the thoracic, done a little twisting to open the mid and the lower back. As you inhale, press down into your hands, pull your shoulder heads back, find that arch in your lumbar. As you exhale, press the mat away. Maybe press the front of the tops of the legs into the mat as well. Tops of the lower legs. Inhale, arching. Exhale, rounding in. Good. And then just continuing like this. Perhaps you close your eyes. So again, just taking the attention inward, paying attention to your spine, noticing how it's feeling here, and just introducing this nice, gentle movement, kind of waking everything up. Nice work. And then also starting to connect movement with breath, finding this idea of vinyasa. A few more rounds here. This looks good. All right. So as you inhale, come back to neutral spine. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches. Keep your lower belly pulling in. Shift your shoulders forward. As we exhale, we're going to bend our elbows an inch, maybe two. Maybe you land with shoulder heads in line with your elbows. And then in one piece, lower down onto your belly. We're going to bring our arms by our sides, so palms are going to face in. Lower onto your forehead. You're lengthening back through all 10 toes. Really press into those toenails. Feels a little bit as though you're rolling to the outer edges of your feet, so press a little more there. You don't want to overdo it. We don't want those ankles to turn out. But conversely, we don't want them to hit each other and turn in, so we're kind of trying to find that middle place. Keep pressing down vigorously into your feet, into the tops of the legs, those hip bones, the pubic bone. As you inhale, Extend chest forward and up. Lift arms up off the mat. Palms just facing in towards each other. Gaze slightly in front of you, so the back of the neck nice and long. Sometimes we throw our chin back here. So it almost feels, you're not quite tucking it, but you're moving in that direction. Breathe into these back ribs here. Try to fill up. As we exhale, we lower down. Just pause here for a moment. So you're going to stick with that variation in the arms. If it's available, you can interlace your fingers. This is just going to get into the shoulders a little more. If you're tight in the shoulders, you're going to be getting a stretch just with arms by side. All right, so here we go again, anchoring down. Feel the tops of the legs really heavy in the mat. As you inhale, think extension forward and then lift of heart and chest. Send the inhale into the upper body. Use your exhale to help you anchor down. Try to keep lifting those shoulder heads up towards the ceiling. Feel the shoulder blades squeezing towards each other. It's like there's a little pencil in between them that you're trying to hold. Deep inhale. Exhale, lower. And then if you have your fingers interlaced, just change the interlacing. So you shift everything over one in the opposite direction. This time, as we inhale, you have the option to lift your legs up off the mat. So as you go there, if it doesn't feel good, if there's any crunchiness in your lower back, you just place them back down. So here we go. Keep them this active though, even as you're lifting them up. As we inhale, everything extends. So legs extend back and then lift up. Chest extends forward and then lifts up. Breath fills the entire rib cage. It's that entire chest cavity. One more deep inhale, maybe lift just like a micromillimeter more. It might just be a thought. And then as we exhale, we release down. Bring your fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. And again, just let the elbows fall out. As that happens, notice how your shoulder heads dip down and then squeeze them in towards the midline. Notice how the shoulder heads lift up. So that's what we're going for. And then just moving into our Bhujangasana low cobra a few times with the breath. So inhale, chest extends forward and up. You're not using your hands to help you get this lift. You're using the muscles in your back. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lengthen. Good, exhale, lower down. Legs still really active. Inhale, lift. Good, exhale, lower. Inhale up, hold here, a couple of breaths. And gaze soft and gentle in front of you, nice and steady, not looking around. Listening to that sound of your breath, that inhale through the nose, that exhale through the nose. From here, we press to our tabletop. Curl toes under, keep a bend in your knees for this first one. So bending so much that you can really start to stretch your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Make sure that your neck is nice and long so your ears are in line with your biceps. You're just gazing between your feet with your hips distance apart. Good, so stay up on those left toes. Inhale as you exhale. Melt right heel back any amount. You still might have a little bend in that knee. Inhale, back up to tippy toes. Exhale, press that left foot back. One more time to each side. Inhale up. Exhale, release right heel. Inhale to tippy toes. Exhale, release that left heel back. Inhale up, and then this time, any amount, release the heels back. Just take a few breaths here. So first downward dog of the day, always intense, especially in the morning. So this doesn't have to look like it did for you a couple days ago. Just be good with where you're at and kind of notice the sensations happening, because this is going to start to shift too as we begin to warm up and move. Nice and slow, kind of like a walking meditation. Start to make your way forward to the top of the mat. Land there with feet hips distance apart. Bring your hands to your shins or your thighs. Chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. A few of these. Notice if all of the weight has gone into your heels. Feel the arches lift, so feel a little forward momentum here. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, again, Ardha Uttanasana. Find that length through the sides of the waist, gaze forward. Exhale, release in. Intense stretch these forward folds. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. And then press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up, coming to your extended mountain pose. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So we start to move into some half sun salutes here. You can reach your arms out or you can reach forward, whatever feels good, whatever you have space for. Inhaling, stretching up. As you exhale, dive in. You might take a little bend in your knees. Let the back of your neck release. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Good. Inhaling, reaching up. As you exhale, fold in. Beautiful work. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, back into your Uttanasana. Inhale, press down, stretch arms out and up, coming into your extended mountain pose. Exhale, hands come together at your heart. So 3 more, I'm not gonna cue you, just move with your breath, maybe close your eyes. Let these feel really good. So you're inviting space and ease into your body. You're finding this sense of rhythm and motion. Really listen to the sound of your breath. Be very distinct about each pose, but again, still find that sense of fluidity as you do this. When you're done with your 3rd round, just pausing in your Tadasana, palms together at your heart, eyes closed. Noticing how you're feeling. And just checking in here. Maybe it feels like you're standing a little taller with a greater sense of ease. Might be feeling some heat. Good, and then blink your eyes open. If you have blocks, just have them at the top of your mat. You may or may not need them. Just have them in case. And then coming back to your Tadasana, your mountain pose. All right, as we inhale, arms reach up. As we exhale, we hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. We're gonna keep the right foot forward. Just step that left foot way back. Land on your knee. You might need to double up your mat, give it a little more padding. And then this is a really great place to have blocks. So we're trying to release this left hip down, so getting into that hip flexor. If you're tight, and most of us are, a lot of big muscles attaching here, bringing the floor a little closer is a nice thing to do. So blocks are great. You can do any height. And just hang out here for a few breaths. Make sure that right knee is over right ankle. Make sure that you're breathing. This is intense, so sometimes the shoulders like to creep up around the ears. Soften them down. Then we're going to start to move towards the hamstring stretch. So if you have your blocks and you're a little tighter, just walk them back with you. You might even need to come higher. So we start to draw that right hip back. Both hips are landing over this left knee. You can keep a little bend in the right knee. If you want a little more intensity, you're really pointing those toes up towards the ceiling. You might even be able to walk your hands forward. Think that opening across the sternum, so that lift of sternum towards ceiling, so that thoracic opening if you are forward folding. And there's this sensation of right hip coming back, left hip coming forward. Breath, smooth and steady. Good, and then let's just flow this a little bit. So as we exhale, come in. Inhale, lengthen back to your half splits. Couple more. Exhale, release in to the hip flexor stretch. Inhale, come on back. Good, exhale, coming in. Inhale, lengthen back. And then exhale, come forward, hands come to that right thigh. Direct your tailbone down, find length through the sides of the waist. Inhale, arms reach out and up. Good, as you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Curl your left toes under. Let's step back to our downward facing dog. And then from here, you're gonna shift forward to plank on your inhale, lower to knees, exhale, elbows bend to halfway, pause a moment, land on your belly. Inhale into your low cobra, elbows squeeze in towards each other, press into all 10 toenails. And then exhale, come to your tabletop, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through, land on your right knee, again, pad it up. Make sure that you have enough space here, and then perhaps just resting your hands on blocks. So initially starting out today, just a few breaths in these poses. Less is more, these are intense. So if it's like unbearable, back out a little bit. The point here is not to torture ourselves, it's to challenge ourselves and be smart. So we want to be doing this for many years to come, many decades to come. How is this side different in your body? All right, so we start to come back into our half splits. We're drawing that left hip back. This right hip comes forward. Both hips are landing over that right knee. The more you flex these left toes, the more you're going to feel this stretch. Again, make any adjustments with your props that you need to. So always choosing to make the pose more accessible. If you are folding forward any amount, keep that lift, that openness across the heart and chest. You can even think cobra pose here. So you might even have your elbow squeezing in a bit. Are you clenching your face and jaw? Soften, smile. It's only yoga. All right, here we go. So moving now, little flow. Exhale, come back into that hip flexor stretch. Inhale, nice and methodical, pull back into the hamstring stretch. Exhale in. Good, inhale, pull back. One more, exhale in. Good, inhale, pull back. Ardha Hanumanasana. Exhale, come on in. Hands to left thigh, upright yourself. So direct the tailbone down, stretch the sternum up, length through the sides of your waist. Inhale, arms reach up. Maybe gaze up, press palms. As we exhale, hands are going to come down to the mat. Curl your right toes under and then step that right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. We're going to just flow this second side together. Just going to do our low crescent pose, so one movement per breath. Inhale, arms reach up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep your left foot forward, step your right foot back, lower onto that knee. Inhale, arms reach up. As As you exhale, hands, plant, curl those toes under, just pull back, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower knees, elbows bent to halfway, pause there. Then exhale the rest of the air out as you land on your belly. Firming into all 10 toenails. Inhale, chest extends forward, elbows squeeze in. Exhale, tabletop, curl toes under, stretch hips towards the ceiling, downward dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through, land on your left knee. Inhale, rise up, low crescent, beautiful. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Curl left toes under, step that foot to meet the right foot. Inhale, chest extends. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So we're going to come to a seat here. We're going to get into the hips a little bit. I'm going to give you a couple variations. So I want to do a little hip work here, and then we're going to move into warrior two and triangle pose. So we're just going to open it up a little bit. So come to a nice seat. Make sure that you're sitting nice and tall, so you're kind of in the center of your sit bones. Feet are forward, and you're going to kind of gauge this depending upon how tight the hips are. So we're going to take our right ankle and cross it above our left knee. This might be absolutely impossible in your body, so you make this easier if you need by coming onto your back and doing the same thing, but it just kind of takes some of the pressure off. So depending upon where you're at this morning, side to side, it could be different. We have these two different variations. You might take your fingertips behind you just to help you root down and then find that length through the sides of the waist. In both variations, reclining or seated, you're flexing this right foot. And then maybe you can do this in both variations too. You can take that right hand into your right thigh, gently press forward, and then keep breathing. So yeah, this is a doozy. Big, big hip stretch. Nice work. If you are seated and it feels like you could use a little more stretch, you might start to move your sit bones closer to your left heel. If you're on your back, you could hug that left knee into your chest. Couple more breaths here. Again, just keep trying to gently release that right knee forward so you're finding more space in that lower right waist. Feeling lots of length in your spine, so we don't want to round in here. We want to stay nice and tall. All right, so if you're on your back and your knee is squeezed in, just release. If you scooched your sit bones closer to that left heel, just give yourself a little more space. And then come out of this, extend legs. Just give them a little shake here. You can do that on your back as well if that feels good. And then we take side B, which may feel a lot different. So make adjustments to a different variation if you need to. We take left ankle, cross it above that right knee, flex the foot. If you're doing this on your back, you're flexing the foot. Good, fingertips behind you is nice. It helps you get a little height. You can take your left hand, gently press forward. You might not need to do that. This is really intense in my body on this side, so definitely my tighter side. Notice if that's the case for you. Maybe this side feels a little easier, so you move in a little deeper. Is that breath still smooth and steady? Is there tension in your face and jaw? Soften. So that often happens when we come into these really challenging, intense, static poses. We start to introduce more tension in the body. We're almost not even aware that we're doing it. So if you do want to go a little deeper here, hug your knee into your chest. If you're on your back, scooch your sit bones a little closer to that right heel. But again, keep that lengthening through the sides of the waist, that lift of the sternum up towards the ceiling. It's that feeling that we had when we were laying over our blanket at the top, at the beginning of class. This is gonna make our warrior twos a little easier, I promise. Not a lot easier, but a little easier. All right, so back out if you're seated, release if you're on your back and you hugged the leg in. Ooh, and then again, just give the legs a little stretch out here. And then let's just rock forward so you can cross the ankles behind you. If you're on your back, just roll up to seated. Come back to your cat-cow. Let's just take a couple rounds of that here. Kind of let that all go. How does this feel different than the first round of cat-cow that we did? So hopefully it's feeling like there's a lot more movement, openness, easiness in your spine, in your neck, especially the back of the neck. And then inhale, come back to neutral spine. Walk your hands forward, couple of inches. Curl your toes under, downward facing dog. Good. And then again, start to walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Nice and slow, no rush, like a walking meditation. As you inhale, hands on shins or thighs or fingertips on floor, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So again, just make sure that blocks are at the top of your mat. As we inhale, arms reach out and up. As we exhale, we hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep your right foot forward, step your left foot way back. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. So keep those left toes curled under. We're gonna come into our full crescent pose here. So inhale, rise up. Couple of breaths so we can feel this. You can always have a little bend in the back knee. That's nice. It helps you to direct your tailbone down. It might allow you to sink into this front knee a little further. If you can keep the bend in the right knee and start to straighten that back leg any amount, you're welcome to do so. And again, it just kind of gets into that hip flexor, which we've already hit here. Okay, so from our crescent pose, we're going to transition into our Virabhadrasana 2. So I want you to heel toe your right foot to the left twice. Spin into the back edge of that left heel. So these hips are releasing down, but we're opening this right hip. Good. And then go ahead and release your arms out to the side, squaring your torso forward, pressing the right knee back, but gazing out over those right fingertips. So big, big hip opener in this right leg here. But again, this left leg is neutral. It's releasing down. So we're not trying to square our hips. In fact, you can just bring your hands to your hips and they should kind of feel like a slight angle. Left hip is slightly forward, right hip is back. And then you can take your arms out again. Fire up that back leg a lot. Make sure you're not gripping your right toes. All right, so keeping the lower body exactly like this, legs stay the same, spin your right palm to face up. As you inhale, very lightly, reach your left fingertips down that back leg. You could have the hand a little higher. You could even play with kind of reaching around today. If that feels good, it's gonna give you a little shoulder stretch in that left shoulder. Gonna press that left shoulder head back. As you spin left ribs up towards the ceiling, maybe bring your gaze up. Again, sealing vigorously into the back edge of your left foot. All right, so from here, we inhale, come back to our Virabhadrasana 2. And then as we exhale, we're gonna hinge forward at that right hip. Keep pressing that knee back behind you. Couple options. Elbow to your thigh. You have that block. You can take it behind that right foot and stack your arm there. If you're doing that variation, really press this right knee into the upper right arm. And this time we're spinning our right ribs up towards the ceiling. Gaze can be down, forward, or up. You're feeling your shoulder blades stack on top of each other here. Good work. Tanya, can you bring that left arm forward a little bit? Yeah, that's it. Nice. Okay, so from here, we are going to transition in to our triangle pose. So if your elbow is on your knee, you can actually keep it there, but you might want to find your block. It's up to you. Go to the highest height of the block. Start to press to the inner edge of that right foot and begin to straighten that leg. So this is a pretty wide-legged triangle. It might feel like you need to heel toe that back foot in a little bit, so you're welcome to do that. And then think of your upper body, your torso as a parallelogram. So you're trying to stretch out through that right side, lengthening through the left side, shoulder blades stacking on top of each other. Seal into the back edge of that left foot, press to the inner edge of that right foot, and then really feel this inner right thigh wrapping towards your outer right thigh. So big hip stretch. Oh, this is good work. I know this is hard. As you exhale, start to bend that right knee. So coming back to that side angle pose, take a deep inhale here. And then as we exhale, start to release left hand down. So you're framing that right foot here. And we're going to step our left foot to meet our right foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, arms reach. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep your left foot forward, step that right foot way back. Make sure that you're on train tracks, not a tightrope. Inhale, rise up. Crescent pose. So really press that right heel back behind you. Maybe find a little bend in that right knee so you can find the space in the lower sides of your waist. Then sink in nice and deep so you kind of have this 90-degree angle with the left leg. Then maybe start to straighten the leg. Keep the deep bend here. Good, and then we're going to start to transition into our Virabhadrasana 2. So we heel toe our left foot to the right twice. My camera just went, sorry about that. Good, and then spin into the back edge of your right foot. So we're heel to arch here. And then release your arms by your side. There we go. What is going on? Gazing out over your left fingertips. So torso is forward, so we're not leaning forward here. We're nice and upright. We're just bringing our gaze out over those left fingertips, sealing into the back edge of that right foot, letting this right hip release down as we press this left knee back behind us. Great work. So spin your left palm to face up, nice and light. Stretch back into your Virabhadrasana, or your reverse warrior rather. Again, maybe you reach kind of around, press this right shoulder head back. Keep wrapping ribs up towards the ceiling. Really nice. Keep that bend in the left knee though. All right, as we inhale, we come back into our Virabhadrasana 2. And then we're going to exhale, shift forward. Again, elbow to thigh or hand on block is really nice. You can kind of use arm and leg pressing against each other to find more of that hip opening. Really feel that inner left thigh wrap towards the outer left thigh. Keep that back leg strong and active. Gaze can be down, forward, or up. All right, and then we transition into our triangle pose here. So press to the inner edge of that left foot. Begin to firm the muscles above that left knee. Bring that leg to straight. You might need to move your block back a little further. Hand could be on shin or thigh. And then also, if it feels like you need to sneak that back foot in, you're welcome to do that. And then find that parallelogram feeling. Lengthen, extend through that left side so it's even with the right side. And then spin those ribs up. Shoulders stacking on top of each other. Nice work. Take an inhale. As you exhale, start to bend that left knee. Good. So unwind here. Right hand comes down to the mat. You frame that top foot. And then you step your right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. And then inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Couple breaths here. The hard work is over. Although hard work is always relative, so what we're about to do might be hard. We're gonna come into another hip stretch. So seated hip stretch, Sukhasana. If you know that you're tight in hips, if it's hard to sit tall, sit up on something. It just makes life a little more pleasant. And we've actually done a lot to warm up the hips, so this should feel pretty good. So we're gonna come into our Sukhasana, crossing right shin in front of left shin. And if that's hard to do, you can go a little bit wider eventually as we start to open up. This gets a little easier to find this. Some of us who are really flexible might be able to stack shins on top of each other, but notice how my knee is able to release down. So if your knee is really high, just come back to your Sukhasana and you're gonna still be getting all of the benefits. Gently flex your feet a little bit here. Root down into your sit bones. Also, if you know you're super tight, maybe some blocks in front of you will be nice. So again, you're just bringing the floor closer. Let's inhale, stretch up. Find that length. Hold on to this length. Anchor into your sit bones as you exhale. Hinge forward, fold in any amount. So some of us might be able to reach fingertips to the floor. Again, you might have your hands on blocks. What we are looking for is to keep the spine nice and long. So many of us, if we start to round in, we get the sensation of going deeper into the pose, but we've lost the integrity of the spine and we've actually lost some of the stretch. So as is the case with any forward fold, always think a little heart opening, a little lengthening. There's a little back bend in this forward fold. And then at this stage of the game, you can consciously start to shift your breath. You can hold on to the Ujjayi if that works for you. If you like that, you can let it go. But we're still inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Just kind of letting the inhale get a little longer. So maybe counting to 7 or 8 or 9. And then exhaling to that same number. And from here, let's find a little twist. So our right shin is crossed in front. We're going to just walk our arms off to the right any amount. You can take your blocks with you. Keep anchoring down into that left sit bone. And then as you press there, start to roll those left ribs up towards the ceiling. Good, come back to center. Inhale, roll up. And then just uncross your legs, extend them, give them a little shake. And then we take side B, so left shin crossing in front of right shin. Let's try to cross in the center. That might not be happening. You'll get there one day. And then again, if your hips allow, if there's that flexibility in your body, you can stack shins on top of each other. In both of these variations, just flex your feet so we protect the knee joints. Take a nice deep inhale. Start to stretch your arms up. So think lots of length. Think cobra pose in your upper body. As you start to hinge forward, fold in. And again, maybe hands rest on blocks in front of you, especially if you're a little tighter, so you might be more upright. Otherwise, hands or fingertips might come to the floor. How are the sensations different on this side? How is that left hip feeling compared to that right hip? Again, breath is smooth and steady. This can be really intense. So sometimes we start to hold the breath. We start to create tension in the face and jaw. Soften there. Maybe that means that you're going to have to back out of the pose a little bit. That's always a good choice to make. And then we start to find our little twist here. So walking arms off to the left, any amount. It doesn't have to be very deep. Start to wrap those right ribs towards that left thigh. And then we start to come back to center. As you inhale, roll on up, and you're going to come onto your back here. When you get there, hug your knees into your chest. And let's do a twist again. So you can do the twist that we did at the beginning of class. If you like that variation where you cross right thigh over left thigh, press into left foot, scoot your hips off to the right, and then let the knees fall to the left, you can do that. Otherwise, knees just stacking on top of each other. Shoulder blades pressing heavy. This should feel a little easier now at the end of the class than it did at the beginning. Gazing straight up or looking out over your right fingertips. Good. Inhale up to center. If you took that cross-legged variation, just uncross, come back to center. And then left thigh over right thigh, scooch hips off to the left. Let knees fall to the right. Gazing straight up or out over your left fingertips. Feel that left shoulder blade heavy. And again, maybe knees are just stacked on top of each other here. They're both really good twists. Good. Inhale up to center and cross thighs. Even out. Squeeze the knees in. Bring your nose up to your knees. So just get into a tight little ball here. Take a deep inhale. And then open your mouth. Sigh the breath out. Ha. Making your way towards your Shavasana, whatever that looks like. So might be a blanket rolled up underneath your knees to just give you a little release to the lower back. Might be classic. You might have knees bent, feet wide, knees knocking in towards each other. But melt in here, soak this up. So we worked really hard, and we give ourselves, our bodies, brain, a chance to just assimilate all of this. Just let it melt into the bones. And so enjoy this Shavasana. Masato ma satgamaya. Tamaso ma joy tirgamaya. Mrityo mritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Take a deeper inhale. Sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Wiggle your fingers and toes. So just bringing some gentle movement back to your body. Maybe stretching arms up overhead. Good. Roll to one side or the other. Just pause there. And then pressing into your hands, coming up to a comfortable seat. Notice how the seat feels. So hopefully you're finding that you have more space, a little more ease sitting here. There's room for the breath to move. And as a result of body and breath working together, perhaps you've found this sense of calm and focus in your mind, a sense of ease there as well. Send yourself love and gratitude. Send your body love and gratitude. It's a gift to be able to work and move like this. It's not always easy, but it does make a difference. Just promise yourself you're going to carry this feeling with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart. Bow your head with a smile. Thank you.